You ever get hit with one of those huge, impossible-sounding questions and your mind just goes blank? We're so often stuck without all the data we need. Well, that's what we're going to fix today. By the end of this, I promise, you'll have a new superpower for tackling any estimation problem with total confidence. Okay, let's get into it.
I mean, look at this classic. How many ping pong balls fit inside a Boeing 747? It sounds ridiculous, right? It's meant to be intimidating. Nobody expects you to know the exact volume of a 747 off the top of your head. But what if I told you there's a really logical way to get surprisingly close to the right answer?
The secret is this awesome technique called guesstimation. It's exactly what it sounds like, a mix of guessing and estimation. The whole idea was pioneered by the physicist Enrico Fermi. And the concept is beautifully simple. Instead of trying to answer one giant, scary question, you just answer a few small, manageable ones.
And trust me, this is way more than just a cool party trick. This is a crucial skill out in the real world. You could be a founder trying to figure out a potential market, a project manager trying to set a realistic timeline, or, you could be in a high-stakes interview at a place like Google or McKinsey. This skill is what shows you know how to think.
So how do we actually do it? Well, the great news is there's a framework, a reliable blueprint you can use every single time. Let's walk through it right now. Here it is, your 6-step game plan. First, you clarify the question. Make sure you're actually solving the right problem. Then you break it down into logical parts. This is the magic step, turning one big problem into little ones. Next, you make reasonable assumptions for each of those little pieces. Then you do the math. But you don't stop there. You do a sanity check. You got to ask yourself, does this number even feel real? And finally, you give your answer as a range because, hey, we know our assumptions aren't perfect. This is the blueprint.
And please remember this, the goal is not to get the perfect exact number. It's about being in the right ballpark. Are we talking about thousands, millions, billions? Just getting the order of magnitude right is a massive win when you're starting from basically nothing. Okay, theory's great, but let's see how this blueprint actually works out in the wild. Let's put it into action with a couple of examples.
All right, here we go. A classic market sizing question. Without looking anything up, how on earth could we figure out how many cups of tea are drunk every single day in a huge city like Nairobi?
Okay, let's use our blueprint. First up, population. I don't know the exact number, but for a major capital city, let's ballpark it at around 6 million people. Sounds reasonable. Next, not everyone drinks tea, right? So let's make another assumption. Maybe 70% of people are regular tea drinkers. And for those who do, how many cups? Some have 1, some have 5. Let's just average it out and say 3 cups a day. See what we did there? None of those are facts, but they're all small, defensible guesses.
Now, when we multiply those assumptions out, we land somewhere around 12.6 million cups. And of course, we state our answer as a range, maybe 10 to 15 million, to account for our guesswork. The incredible thing is, we've just uncovered a huge daily market without looking at a single official report. That's the power of this.
Let's try another one, completely different field, this time from the tech world. You know, estimating lost productivity like this can be the key to making a business case for better tools or different processes. Okay, so a typical 2-week sprint for a 10-person team, that's about 800 hours of work total. Now, if we just assume that about 20% of that time gets eaten up by fixing unexpected bugs, which is a pretty common estimate in the industry, that's 160 hours lost. That's 4 full weeks of one person's work gone. This is a perfect example of how a quick guesstimate can put a hard, shocking number on a problem, making it totally impossible to ignore. You see the pattern here? In both examples, what we're really doing is applying this core concept of decomposition. You've probably heard that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Well, that's guesstimation. Exactly. You take a scary, massive, overwhelming problem and you just break it down into bite-sized, solvable pieces.
All right, you've got the blueprint. Now, let's talk about how to get really good at this. We're going to cover some pro tips to sharpen your skills and, just as important, some common pitfalls to watch out for.
So here are a few quick tips to really level up. First, always round your numbers. Powers of 10, so 10, 100, 1,000, they are your best friend. This is about speed, not calculator precision. Next, talk through your logic out loud. Seriously, hearing yourself say it helps you catch flaws in your own thinking. And the most important thing, practice on everything. How many windows are in that building across the street? How many pizzas get delivered in your city tonight? It's a muscle, and you've got to build it.
Now, this is where we go from just doing math to being truly smart thinkers. See, our brains have these built-in traps. The first is overconfidence bias. That feeling that our first guess has to be perfect. The pro tip to fix that, always state your answer as a range. It forces you to be humble. The second trap is anchoring, getting stuck on the very first number you hear. And the solution is that all-important sanity check. You have to step back and ask, does this number even feel right in the real world?
And for that big job interview, this framework is your absolute lifeline. Remember, the interviewer doesn't want a human calculator. They want to see how your brain works. So walk them through it. Clarify the question. State your approach out loud. List every single assumption you're making. Do the math step by step out loud. And finally, wrap it up with a sanity check and a clear summary. Following these steps shows structured thinking, and that's worth way more than the final number itself.
Okay, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. Now it's your turn. Time to put this new superpower to work. So here is your challenge. Use that 6-step blueprint we just learned to estimate the number of teacups, or coffee cups if that's more your thing, that are consumed in your own city every single day. Think it through. Population, percentage of drinkers, daily habits. You can do this. And as you're practicing, just keep this quote in your head. Guesstimation isn't about finding the perfect answer. It's a tool for thinking. It's a way to cut through uncertainty and move forward with a logical, defensible estimate. It's all about being progressively less wrong. So there you have it, a powerful tool to bring a little structure to chaos and a little clarity to uncertainty. The only way to get better is to practice. So go on, take that challenge. And in the comments below, don't just post your final number. Share your breakdown. What were your assumptions? Because that's where the real thinking happens. Thanks for watching and stay